Once again, welcoming you all to physics class by Jyotik Masa. So in yesterday's class, we were discussing about the electrostatics, then after charge, then after we discussed about types of charge and the various basic properties of charge and how the body will acquire charge and quantization of charge. These all are the topics we have discussed in the yesterday's class. Okay, in today's class, we are going to deal with the topics of Coulomb's law. Then after we are discussing about, today's class we are going to discuss about Coulomb's law. Okay. Second one is we are discussing about permittivity of media. Okay. Next, relative permittivity. Okay. And next one is Coulomb's law in vector form. Okay. Next, Coulomb's law in various form. Coulomb's law in various forms. I mean applications. Okay. And last one is limitations. Okay. So these all are the topics we are discussing in the today's class. Okay. Now here, before we are starting today's class, I'm having a one big question in my mind. Okay, so we will just go through that question before we are starting the class. Okay guys, so the question is very simple. Okay, it will test your mind. Okay, so here guys, okay, this is a surface. Okay, this is a surface. Okay, and here it is having one point charge. Here also we are having a point charge. Okay, now here it is having positive charge like this on this surface. Okay, now tell me, so after these two charges has become like this. Okay, now tell me, so the charge, for example, this is A, this is B, this is A and this is B. Now tell me the charge, is that charge on B is necessarily okay, here my options. First one, charge on B is necessarily negative. Okay, and the second one is charge on B is not negative, not positive. Third one, can't predict. Fourth one, none of the above. Okay, so here we are having the options. Initially this is the behavior of the charges, but after some time, so it was attracted. Now the point is, so what is the correct statement from the following options? Charge on B is necessarily negative, charge B is not negative, not positive. That means it's a neutral body, can't predict, none of the above. Okay, so which might be the correct answer? Just think first of all. Yeah, very good. So everyone will choose the point, as it is attracted. So the answer will be the first option. Everyone, most of them will think that the answer is first, that since it is attracted, So what is the point, Nana? Charge on B is necessarily negative, but this is not correct answer. This is wrong answer. Okay, initially, I mean the correct answer is charge B is not positive, not negative. That is, it's a neutral body. Sir, then why it will get undergo attraction? We discussed that in the yesterday's class. When charging is done by the induction, it will I mean, so opposite charge is developed. So far, it is what, guys? It is a neutral, so it is having a combination of negative as well as positive. Now due to this charge, a negative charge is developed like this and a positive charge will be developed like this. That's the reason after some time it got attracted. So here it is positive will be as usual. Is it clear, guys? So the point here is very simple. It is not a what? Negative charge. It is a neutral charge or simply neutral body. Got it? So hope you understood this question, Nana. These type of tricky questions in exam you will get. These type of tricky questions. Okay. So I hope you understood this question. I mean, so how the tricky questions will be there, that I have explained. To explain that only, I just taken. Okay. Now coming to the next. Okay, guys. Now coming to the point here. Yeah. So Coulomb's law. What do you mean by the word here, Coulomb's law? Coulomb is a scientist who has first started working on the these charges. Okay. So after the Benjamin Franklin finding out all those, Coulomb is a scientist who formulated the this basics laws. Okay. So Coulomb's law, what it states. Okay, so when 2-point charges, here this is a point charge, it is a q1, here it is another charge q2. When they are separated by a certain distance, okay, so the distance between them is how much, guys? R. Okay, 2-point charges q1 and q2 when separated by a distance of r. Okay, so the force of attraction, I mean due to this charge, it will influence a force on this. Due to this charge, if certain force is influenced on this, that is the force of attraction or repulsion. Okay, if it is a similar charges, then repulsion takes place. If it is a non-similar or unlike charges, it will experience attraction. Okay, so force is directly proportional to product of their charges, and force is also inversely proportional to square of the distance between them. Okay, and act along the line joining of 2 points. Okay, the force of attraction or repulsion, see, if I'm keeping the arrows outside, means it is what, guys? Repulsive force. If I'm keeping the arrows towards inside, means it is attractive force. The force of attraction or repulsion between the 2-point charges is directly proportional to the product of their charges and inversely proportional to the square of the distance between, and act along the line joining of 2 points. So if you study it like a whole paragraph, it will be difficult, but if you study with respect to the formulas, it will be very easy. So from this, what I can write, guys? F is directly proportional to q1 q2 by r square. So here we can replace the proportionality by just keeping the value k q1 q2 by r square, and where k is called as, where k is not so k or k naught, we can write this as depends upon the situation. Okay, I'm writing this as k naught. K naught is a proportionality constant. Okay, proportionality constant, and its value is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon. Okay, and this epsilon, I mean 1 by 4 pi epsilon, this value is equal to 9 into 10 power 9, 9 into 10 power 9. Okay, so this is the value. Okay, now here guys, here 9 into 10 power 9, and here epsilon is there na. So here epsilon is there na. Epsilon is called as permittivity of free space. Permittivity, okay, of free space. Okay, and its value is equal to 8.848542 into 10 power minus 12 coulomb square by Newton meter square. Clear guys? So how this epsilon value we got, that we will discuss once again, no issue here. Okay, our point here, what is the point guys? Force is directly proportional to q1 q2. Force is also inversely proportional to square of the distance between them. From that, F is directly proportional to q1 q2 by r square. Okay, so here the force is, I mean the proportional is replaced with a value called as k naught, and its value is equal to how much guys? 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught, and its value is equal to 9 into 10 power 9. Okay, so this is what we discussed. This is what the, and here if, sir, how to identify the units, sir? Sir, is this not having the units? Okay, I mean I'm telling, I want to explain in what way we have to get the units. That's the reason I not explained at that moment. Okay guys, now this k naught units we require, is it right? Now just first of all isolate this value k naught. How you will get, Nana? We can get here k naught is equal to, we can write it as f r square by q1 q2. That is, we can write this as Newton meter square by Coulomb square. It is exactly opposite to that of permittivity of a media. Okay, and here k naught is called as a proportionality constant, and its value is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon, and here the numerical value is 9 into 10 power 9 Newton meter square per Coulomb square. Whereas epsilon value is equal, epsilon is called as permittivity of free space, and its value epsilon is equal to 8.8542 into 10 power minus 12 Coulomb square per Newton meter square. Okay, so this is what the Coulomb's law. Okay, now here what is this epsilon naught? Epsilon naught is permittivity. Permittivity means to what extent it will allow the charge to flow through that. To what extent it will allow the charge to flow through the medium is called as permittivity of free space. For free space, this whole, I mean, okay, we will discuss on so on. Okay, later on that values. Now, what is the definition? What is the definition of the now? Okay, I hope you understood, guys. Now, definition of Coulomb. Okay, so definition of Coulomb. Sir, we already discussed in our definition of Coulomb, that is 6.25 into 10 power 18 electrons. But why we are discussing? See, here we are discussing with respect to the Coulomb's law. For example, think that Coulomb, I mean Q1, let Q1 is equal to Q2 is equal to 1 Coulomb. Okay, and R is equal to 1 meter. Okay, so when Q1 and Q2 is equal to 1 Coulomb and R is equal to 1 meter, then force we will get is 9 into 10 power 9. 9 into 10 power 9. Okay, and 1 into 1 by 1 meter square. Okay, that is 9 into 10 power 9 newtons. Clear? So Coulomb is the charge that when placed at a distance of 1 meter in air or vacuum, a repulsive force of 9 into 10 power 9 acts. Okay, so what it means, Nana? So whenever 2-point charges, separated by a distance of 1 meter, it should experience a force of 9 into 10 power 9 newtons. So whenever it experiences a force of 9 into 10 power 9 newtons, then its value is 1 coulomb. Are you getting the point, guys? So a 1 coulomb charge should experience a resistive force of 9 into 10 power 9. If the charges are similar, then it is if unlike then it is what, guys? It is attractive force. If charges are unlike, it is attractive force. If charges are like, it is a repulsive or resistive force. Clear? Hope you understood the definition. So what do you mean by the word definition here? Coulomb is the charge that when placed at a distance of 1 meter from an identical charge. See here, this is a charge. Okay, so Coulomb is a charge when placed from an identical charge, okay, at a distance of 1 meter. It should create or it should develop a resistive force of 9 into 10 power 9 newtons. Then it is called as 1 coulomb of charge. Okay, so I hope you, the coulomb is a very big unit, Nana, and we already know that its value is how much? 6.25 into 10 power 18 electrons. Okay, now this is what we discussed about the concept of coulomb. Okay, now coming to the next point. Okay, so okay guys, before we are going to the next, how we will represent Coulomb's law in vector form. Okay, so Coulomb's law in vector form. Okay, so for example, guys, so this is a charge. Okay, now we are having two vectors at a distance here r1 and here r2. Now this is q1 and this is q2. Okay, now this q1 will, this is what r12. So the force of attraction, F12 is given by K into q1 q2 by r12 square. R12 square. And similarly, the force on second one, the force exerted by the second on the first one, F21 will be given by the K into Q1 Q2 by R21 square. Clear? So in overall, we can represent the charge. We can very simply. So F12, which is equal to minus of F21. F12 is equal to minus of F21. Okay, so because one is in this direction, in vector notation it will be opposite. So F12 is nothing but opposite of the negative charge. Okay guys, now here we can write this as, okay, so this is what the representation, and finally we can represent here F12 can be represented as K into Q1 Q2 by R1 minus R2 whole cube and R1 minus R2. Okay, so here what is this R1 minus R2? Sir, actually it is square now. Why we get the cube? Because it is in vector notation. In vector notation, we have to represent the like this. Yeah, guys. So for F21, we will can write it as F21 is equal to K into Q1 Q2 by R2 minus R1 whole cube R2 minus R1. This is how we will represent for the, I mean, it is simply quite opposite to the F12. So F12 we are writing like this, and F21 it will be just a reverse case. Okay, so I hope you understood how the vector, I mean, Coulomb's law is expressed in terms of vectors. Okay, so it is nothing but difference in the uh, values. Okay, what is the difference between the distance between them is calculated as r1 minus r2, nothing else. Okay, I hope you all understood the how the Coulomb's vector law is represented. Of course, based on this we are having very little problems, and that it is not that much important. Okay, okay, conclusions from vector form, conclusions from vector form of Coulomb's law. Okay, guys. So, what are the conclusions we can draw from the here vector form of Coulomb's law? Okay. Now, the first point here is okay. So, for example, consider I'm just drawing here, guys. One sample here. Okay. Now, these are the two vectors. Okay, this is a q1, and this is okay, so this is for example like q1, and this is a q2. Okay, now this is the origin. Now due to this we are having, for example, this is r1 and this is r2, and we can write this as a r2 r1 2. Okay, now this is the point. Okay, now here the force, this is for example, I mean simply I'm writing, okay, for better understanding, the force will be repulsive, the force will be repulsive if q1 q2 is greater than 0. If q1 and q2 are greater than 0, the force exists between them is what, guys? Resistive. Okay, so resistive. If okay, if q1 q2 value is less than 0, if q1 and q2 values are less than 0, it is called as what? Attractive. Okay, so overall whether the force is resistive or attractive depends upon the product of the charges. If product of the charges q1 q2 is greater than 0, then it is the force experienced is resistive, and if the product of the charges q1 and q2 is less than 0, then it will give rise to attractive. Sir, why, sir? See, here for example, one is negative, one is positive. Simply one is negative, one is positive. Then what will happen, guys? What will happen? So we are getting attractive or not? See, negative force means it is attractive, and positive force means it will repulsive. That is the point, you should keep it in mind. Okay, now if you clearly observe that we already discussed F12 is equal to F21. That means Coulomb's I mean here, based on this Coulomb's law, we can say that the charges will form action and reaction pair. Okay, so Coulomb's law is always form action and reaction pair. So if the q1, I mean the force exerted by the q1 on q2 is action, means the force exerted by the q2 on q1 is reaction. Thus action and reaction pairs is obtained in Coulomb's laws. Okay, guys, and this Coulomb's law is analogous to the gravitational force. Okay, acts, it is what, Anna? Analogous to the Newton's law of gravitation. Okay, so another point is what, guys? It is analogous. It is analogous to the Newton's law of gravitation. Okay, so this is also one more point, guys. Okay, you should keep in the mind. Okay, so electrostatic force is a conservative force. We already know that what is conservative. A charge is neither be created nor be destroyed, but always I mean transfers from one body to another. Similarly, electrostatic force is also a conservative force. Okay, it is neither be created nor be destroyed, but changes based on the position. Okay, so this is what is completely related to the or results or conclusions drawn from the vector form of Coulomb's law. Okay, so we will discuss a few furthermore topics in the coming session. So till now what we discussed, we will have a small cross check, then we will go ahead with for the furthermore topic. Okay, guys, we will just cross check what we discussed right now, and we will proceed for the furthermore topic. So just we discussed in Coulomb's law, that is the force between the 2-point electric charges. Okay, so it is electrostatic force of interaction or repulsion between 2-point charges is directly proportional to the product of the charges and inversely proportional to square of the distance between them. Okay, and strictly speaking, it is applied to the stationary point charges only. See, whatever the charges which are in the state of rest and point charges means when compared to the size of the object, I mean the linearly it is very small, then only it is called as point charge. So when linear size of the charged body is much smaller than the distance of under consideration, when compared to the distance between the bodies, the size of the body of a charged body is less, then it is called as a point charge. Okay, so Coulomb's law is only for point charges, it's not for the different size or shaped bodies. Okay, guys, so based on that, F is equal to K into Q1 Q2 by R square, and K, where K is called as a positive constant of proportionality called electrostatic force constant. Okay, and here that value is equal to 1.1 by 4 pi epsilon, where epsilon is the permittivity of free space. Okay, we can add in media we can write this K as 1 by 4 pi epsilon, where epsilon is the absolute permittivity of a media. Okay, so here it is having different names, guys. Here dielectric constant, relative permittivity, specific inductive capacity, like the different play is there, but in our textbook it is given as relative permittivity. So relative permittivity is given as K is equal to, I mean it is represented with K. Okay, so here, I mean there K is proportionality constant, here K is relative permittivity. Okay, so relative permittivity can be given as K is equal to ratio, it is the ratio of permittivity in media by permittivity in free space. Okay, so here K, and it can be written as what? E relative. Okay, relative permittivity is equal to ratio of permittivity in media by permittivity in free space. You can able to check here. Okay, but it is similar to the refractive index, but refractive index is mu is equal to velocity of light in vacuum by velocity of light in the media, but here it is reverse. What is the value? So here permittivity in the media by permittivity in free space. So it is similar to the what, guys? Refractive index. So from this we can write this as epsilon is equal to K into epsilon, where K is called as relative permittivity. Relative permittivity. Okay, and another one we can write it as what? Epsilon into epsilon r. Okay, epsilon naught into epsilon r. Like this also we can represent. Either we can write it as K or epsilon r. Okay, so if you have confusion that with respect to that K and this K, you can neglect this. We can write this as epsilon r. Epsilon r is equal to what, we guys? Epsilon by epsilon naught. Epsilon is called as permittivity in medium. Epsilon naught is in free space. Guys, got it? And so this is the value. Okay, now here these all are the guys. Okay, now we can write this. We can write here in vacuum. In vacuum, we can write the formula as, okay, so 1 by 4 pi epsilon q1 q2 by r square. But in media, we can write this as, in medium, we can write it as 1 by 4 pi epsilon r. Actually we have to write what? Only epsilon, but epsilon is equal to what? Epsilon naught into epsilon r. So we can write it as into q1 q2 by r square. So these are the various formulae we are discussing in the part of Coulomb's law. Okay, guys, I hope you all understood. Okay, and coming to the next point here, so we just discussed in Coulomb's law in vector form. Okay, so we can write it like this. Here the K is proportionality constant 1 by 4 pi epsilon. Okay, these are the different representations of a Coulomb's law in vector form. Okay, and yeah, so before going to the superposition, I want to discuss very, very important points, guys. Okay, yeah. Okay, guys, so we'll discuss practically about the Coulomb's law. Okay, so here the first point is, for example, first of all, I'm keeping 0 coulomb and another one is also 0 coulomb. When the charge, I mean here, F is directly proportional to what, guys? Q1 Q2. So if Q1 and Q2 is 0, so we can write the, I mean we can get the force between the both the charges is equal to how much? 0. Okay, you can see force on q1 q2 by, and q2 and q1 is 0. Okay, first I will increase only one force. When I increase one force, at that time, I mean when I am increasing charge on one body, when I increase charge on one body, you can find that the charge on another body is 0. So at that time also, you are having the force value is equal to how much, guys? 0. So you should keep a point in mind. Questions will come from this topic. What is the force experience? I mean, the force experience between the 2-point charges is some F Newton. Okay, if one of the charge is replaced with 0 coulomb, then what is the force present between them? It is how much, guys? 0, because q1 and q2 value is equal to 0. Okay, for example, a second one is also I'm increasing the value. So now the force exerted by the 2 is equal to what, guys? Same. See, the force exerted by the q1 on q2 and q2 by q1, both will be same. Now keeping the charges constant, I just keep the, see, initially, okay, I will double. First I will double. When I doubled the charges, the force, I mean keeping the radius constant, just I doubled the charges. So what happened, guys? Force value also increased. Got it? Now I'm keeping the previous case. Okay, now the distance is doubled. If the distance is doubled, means like this. So keeping the force, keeping the charges constant, and if the distance were doubled, then the net force will decreases. Okay. So for example, both charge and the distance both were increased or doubled. Then what we have, guys? Same value as like previous. Okay, so here the what is the conclusion drawings, guys? We have discussed 4 points so far. Okay, so for 5 points. First one is in order to have force, okay, both charges should have finite value. Both charges should have finite value. This is the first case. If one charge is zero also, if one charge zero, then net force is zero. Net force is zero. That is the second one. And third one, keeping R is equal to constant and Q1, Q2 doubled, force will increase. Force will increase. Okay. And fourth one, keeping Q1, Q2 constant, R doubles, then F will decrease. That, see, actually we have to discuss this all with respect to the problems, but I am explaining through practically. Okay. And fifth one, if both Q1, Q2 and R were doubled, then F is not change. F is not change, and same like previous. Same like previous. Clear? So these are the 5 points you should keep in the mind. Okay. So based on these, questions will be there. Okay, questions will be there, and some problems, I mean problems or theoretical questions will be there from this topic. Okay, guys. Hope you understood. Okay. So till now we just observed the so guys, tell me, it is a what, repulsive force or attractive force? 100% it is a repulsive force. So then how will we attractive force? This is what attractive force. You can see the arrow symbolizes whether it is a attractive or repulsive force. Okay, so this is a attractive force, this is a repulsive force. Here, I mean, you can see the product. When we discuss in a Q1, Q2 values, so 8 into minus 10 value is less than 0, so attractive. Here it is greater than 0, so here it is repulsive. Based on Q1, Q2 value, we can decide whether it is attractive or repulsive. Hope you understood, guys. Okay, now coming to the next step. Okay, so principle of superposition, guys. So the force is a two-body interaction. Is it right? I mean, we already know that force. I mean, if a force is exerted between two bodies, sorry, a force will be present between two bodies in contact only. Okay, I mean, it is a two-body interaction. Electrical force between 2 point charges is independent of presence or absence of other charges. So the principle of superposition is valid. See, for example, guys, Okay. Now the point is, based on that condition, for example, what is this principle of superposition? For example, I am having four charges like this. Okay, so based on that condition, it will, I mean this, for example, I want to force about this. So this is Q1, Q2, Q3 and Q4. Now what is the forces? Now Q1 will exert force on like this, Q1 will also exert force with Q3, Q1 is also exert the force with Q4. So net force F net is equal to F12 plus F13 plus F14. This is what the principle of superposition. Okay, so where 1 2 is the force between the first charge and second charge, 1 3 is the force between first charge and third charge, and force between the F14 is the force between first charge and fourth charge. Okay, so here this is what the principle of superposition. Okay, the total force present on a body is nothing but sum of individual forces. Total force present on a body, total force present on a body is nothing but what, guys? It is the sum of individual force present on a body, okay, or interacting by the body. This is what the principle of superposition is. Hope you understood. Okay, now we will go move on to the next topic. Yeah, so some important points related to the some important points regarding the Coulomb's law and electric force. This law is based on the physical observation and not logically derived from any other concept. Experiment till today reveal that its universal nature. Okay, it is obtained from the physical observation. It does not have any logics. I mean, how I just explained practically. So, based on the practicals only, it was derived. It was obtained. It is not obtained by the any logical derivatives. This law is analogous. I mean, just we discussed, it is analogous to the Newton's law of gravitation. F is equal to G into m1 m2 by r square. Okay, electric force between the charged particles is much stronger than the gravitational force. Okay, I mean the gravitational force, when compared to the gravitational force, this electric force is very high. Okay, so here simply electric force between charged particles are much stronger. Because why, guys? With the value, I mean the gravitational value is how much? You can see it is how much, 6 points, sorry. Okay, so we already know the value of G is equal to how much, guys? 6.67 into 10 power minus 11. Okay, but here the value for this 1 by 4 pi epsilon is how much? 9 into 10 power 9. There it is 10 power minus 11. Here it is how much? 10 power 9. You can see there is a vast difference. That is, we can say that the force between the electric charges is more when compared to the gravitational masses. Okay, now coming to the electric force can be attractive or repulsive, but gravitational force is also attractive, is only attractive. So electric force can be attractive or repulsive, but here gravitational force is what, guys? Always attractive only. Next, electric force depends on the nature of the medium between the charges, while gravitational force does not. So if a certain dielectric is placed, we discussed it is what? Permittivity of a media. If the media is changed with a certain filled with a certain material, the force will get changed, whereas gravitational force does not have any impact. Okay, next, the force will always form action reaction pair. Okay, so this is one discussion that I mean it will act, I mean Newton's third law is valid, and the force exerted by the first body and second body will form action reaction pair. Okay, and last one is the force is conservative. Work done in moving a point charge once around a closed path under the action of Coulomb force is 0. Is it right? We discussed now the charge is neither be created nor be destroyed, but it always changes from changes or transfers from one body to another. Similarly here the work is also, I mean the force, sorry, the force is also neither be created nor be destroyed, but it will distributed based on the situation. So in a circular path, if the particle is moving, a point charge is moving around a closed path, then the Coulomb force is 0. Okay, so this is what some important points regarding the Coulomb's law. Okay, and we will solve few problems and we will end up the today's session. Okay, now if the distance between the two equal point charges is doubled, then their individual charges are also doubled. What happens to the force between them? Okay, so this is a one of the basic question, very basic question. Okay, now we already know, I mean, here the question is initially, okay, so q1 q2 is equal to how much, guys? Q. And so here this is a q1 and here this is a q2. Okay, now distance between them how much, guys? R. Okay, now coming to the point, so this is, I mean, at that time force will be how much? I can write force is equal to K into Q square by R square. Now I mean, due to some situation, charges q1 dash, q2 dash is equal to 2q, and r dash is equal to 2r. I mean, radius is also double. Charges were double and radius were double. What will happen? F dash is equal to, we can write here, k into q1 dash q2 dash by r dash square, r dash square. That is what we can write, guys. 2q by 2r whole square. That is 4 will get cancelled, and ultimately what we left is k q square by r square. That is f dash is equal to k q square. That is f dash is equal to f. There is no change in the force. This is the result we can obtain from the question. Okay, guys, so this is a very simple question. Okay, similarly, I mean, based on this, so many questions will be there, you can check through that. Okay, now, okay, next, a particle of m carrying capital Q1 revolving around a fixed charge minus Q2 in a circular path of radius r. Calculate the period of revolution. Okay, so what is that, guys? Okay, guys, now a particle of mass m carrying q1, okay, revolving around a fixed charge q2 in a circular path of radius r. Calculate the period of revolution. So with respect to that, we can write this, I mean, we can write the scenario as minus q2. Okay, now the particle is moving with respect to the, I mean, it is having mass m, okay, and it is having a charge q1. This is what positive. These are moving like this, okay, in a circular path. Now as it is moving in a circular path, what is the time period? Time period means what, guys? So time taken by the body to complete one complete rotation is called as, sorry, yeah, revolution is called as time period. Time taken by the body to complete one circular round about, or simply one revolution is called as what? Time period. Now what is the time period? For this is we need to find out. Okay, we already know that as it is moving, I mean, the force, I mean, if it is moving in a circular path means its centrifugal force is equal to the Coulomb force. So from that we can write it as k into q1 q2 by r square is equal to k1 q2 by r square is equal to, we can write this as mr omega square, centrifugal force. But omega is equal to what, guys? 2 pi by t. So we can write this as k q1 q2 by r square is equal to, and m into r into 2 pi by t whole square. Okay, so what we can able to write here, we can write this as, so t square, I mean t square we can be write there, t square is equal to, we can write this as cross multiplication, t square can be written as, so here r square m r cube, okay, and 2 pi square 2 pi whole square, okay, by k q1 q2. Okay, now we can write this as k is equal to, we can write it as 1 by 4 pi epsilon. Now this 1 by 4 pi epsilon will go up, we can write this value as t square is equal to, so what we can able to write guys, m into r cube into 4 pi square into 4 pi epsilon by q1 q2. Okay, and if you clearly observe that, we can write, I mean we require time period, not a time square, so we can write this as t is equal to, so first of all I mean we can take out common, so here 4 pi square is twice is there. Okay, so we can take out one common here, 4 pi we can take out common, so 4 pi and here having r. Okay, so 4 pi r is common, and what we left after m r, and here it is pi epsilon by q1 q2. So this is the formula for the time period. Okay guys, so I'm writing the answer here, so you can get t, I mean you will get time is equal to 4 pi r square root of m r pi epsilon and by q1 q2. This is your final formula. If you know the values of q1 and q2 and m value and r value, then you can able to find the value of time period for this. Clear guys? Hope you understood. This is a little bit difficult question, and it is in combination with our mechanics. Okay. Okay, I hope you understood these questions, guys. Okay, now coming to the next point here. Next question. So the next question I am going to explaining, and whereas the last two questions you should do as the homework. Okay, so I mean you just try in the home. If you don't get, I mean these are the very two simple questions guys. Okay, if you don't get, we will discuss in the tomorrow's session. Okay guys, so here consider three charges q1, q2 and q3. Okay, each equal to q at the vertices of an equilateral triangle of side 1. What is the force on any charge due to the remaining charges? Okay, so here okay guys, so here this is a q1, now q2, and this is a q3. Okay, now I'm considering the charge q3. Now the force between q1 and q3 will experience in this direction F. Okay, and the force between the q2 and q3 experiences in this direction. So what is the angle between them? They said that it is a equilateral angle, so it is a theta is equal to 60. If here it is 60, here is also 60. Now here the value, I mean, since all are similar charges, this value I can consider as F, here also value considered as F. So here I can write here F here F13 is equal to F, and F23 is also equal to F, and theta is equal to how much, guys? 60 degrees. So F net is equal to square root of F1 square plus F2 square plus 2 F1 F2 cos 60. So what is the formula, guys? We are having F square plus 2F square into cos 60. What is the value of cos 60, guys? What is the value of cos 60? It is 1 by 2. So this two will cancel, and our answer is √3. So the net force on any of the charge is how much? √3 F. Okay, guys. So you can see the questions. I hope you can able to see the questions now very clearly. So please try to solve these two questions. Okay, please try to solve these questions. If of course tomorrow we will discuss these two. Okay, I mean, I want to see to what extent you can able to try. That's the reason I'm just giving the two questions. These are very simple questions and similar to the above questions only. Okay, so please try to do. Have a nice day. Take care. Stay home. Stay safe.